For more than 2 decades, Rona Brinlee has offered her personal reading recommendations in her annual Rona Recommends. It's an event at the BookMark, and there is no shortage of stories to read this Women's History Month. Here to give us a sneak preview of the Wednesday event is Rona Brinlee. Hi, Rona.
Hi, great to be here as always.
How many years has this been going on?
Well, I had to research that a little bit. 22 years. It started that we partnered with Now, which is a great partnership, and it's Women's History Month, and we would get a local female author to come and do an event, and they would come and, bring people and food and wine. I mean, it was a wonderful kind of event. And then one year we just kind of ran out of people to ask, and we were stalled, and I said, well, I'd be happy to pontificate for an hour about books by and or about women, and they were like, okay. And ever since, that's what we've been doing, and it's been really fun.
And so tell us the rules of the game. When you are choosing, do they have to be by women? Can they be about women by men? Are they current? Are they old?
They're current, and they have to be either by women or about women. They can be by men if they're about women. So, and they're fiction, nonfiction, and then I have this sort of snuck in just because category, which has nothing to do with women, but Rona read these books and really loves them and wants to tell you about them. So
you should read them regardless.
You should read them regardless. So I, exert my privilege on that one.
Well, that's all right. It's your event. You can make the rules. So one of the things that you do allow, though, is not necessarily a brand new book, but a book that might be new in a paperback version.
Right. So we had talked about this. I don't repeat what I've done from a year before, but I sometimes will, in the sense that I'll say, well, we talked about this last year and it's now in paperback. So, because some people are hardback people and some people are paperback people. You just have to get on the cycle of what works for you.
Some people are Kindle people now.
Well, we don't talk about that.
Okay. I'll leave that lie. So let's start with one of your recommendations this year. This is actually a compilation, but it's edited by an author a lot of people will be familiar with, a very prolific writer, Alice Hoffman.
Right, Practical Magic.
Yes, Practical Magic. This is called The Best Dog in the World, Essays on Love.
Well, I have to confess again, since it's all about me, apparently, we have a new puppy. So the idea of the best dog in the world is, I now have the best dog in the world, and everybody thinks that their dog is the best dog in the world. So this is a compilation of authors, and I love those things because each one is short and different. And you get to read a lot of different authors. And then you might say, well, I've never read Adriana Trigiani, but I really liked her little story about her dog, and so I think I'll read her novel. Or I've never read Napoli. I think I like her story. Or I never read Alice Hoffman. Or all the different people that you've never read. Not only can you enjoy their story about their dog, but you can then find a new author.
And you can get to see them in different lights. I mean, one of the authors is Roxane Gay, Isabel Allende. They're Amy Tan, writers that you may have read in very different contexts, but everybody talking about their pooch is kind of puts them in a different headspace for sure.
Yeah, they bare their souls and you feel more relatable. People think that authors are these distant people that, you can't approach. And I always tell them, well, email them, tell them about your dog now. I mean, they love to get that kind of stuff, and they will answer.
One of your recommendations that I took you up on and read and enjoyed a great deal, it is really fun that the character in it does write authors all the time, and the correspondent is kind of always sometimes plaguing these authors, with her notes and everything, but it just never even really occurred to me, or I think probably to a lot of people, that you could just email the author and tell them about the book.
Well, she does it because she thinks she's the perfect critic,
right.
So she has a little bit more ego about it. But yes, people love to hear. They're so isolated. Writing is not a very sociable activity, and so to hear from your fans, if you don't have readers, there's no reason to be writing these books, right?
Yeah. Another book is called Book of Lives, a memoir of sorts. This is by Margaret Atwood, who's an author a lot of people will know by books like Cat's Eye, Handmaid's Tale, but she's, also hugely prolific. This is about her own story, though.
It is about her own story, and she's a little crusty, so people have that vision of her. And so it's how she grew up in the woods of Quebec. So she was, a happy little kid, and how life and current affairs and the loves in her life have shaped her life and made her into the writer that she is, and the importance of poetry in her life. She does write poetry. And the really cool thing is it has pictures in it, so you see photographs of her at different points in her life and the people and events that affected her.
Does she come across differently in the book than sort of how she's reputed to be, perhaps a little bit distant? Is there humor? Do you get a sense of her more personally?
I think you get a sense of her more personally, and I think that that's important because she does come across as not that.
Mm-hmm. This is not about us. This is by Allegra Goodman. And it is, I think, interesting because people don't necessarily realize when they're engaged in a fight with a family member, those things can really metastasize. They can become lifelong or years long grudges. And this is sort of the root of this book.
Yeah, and it has a great cover with a picture of a cake, and so, most Family Feuds, people either don't remember what they were about to begin with, and this one is about an apple cake recipe that somebody didn't wanna share, and so there becomes this feud about who has control of this recipe, and so it's over generations, and the kids and the kids and the kids are like, "I don't really wanna be part of this apple recipe feud, this is kind of
We're
ridiculous."
over it.
But one of the sisters is dying, and they all have to come together, it's that sort of classic bring the family together, and how much of this is gonna linger for all eternity, and can they resolve it? So she's really good at the family saga.
Well, it is going to be a very cool set of recommendations. Those are just a few samples of what Rona Brinlee is going to be talking about. But the event is called Rona Recommends. It is Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the BookMark on First Street in Neptune Beach. Thank you, Rona, so much for being here.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.